Interest rates are going up. Trying to get ahead is mighty, mighty tough. Bill collectors at my door. I need someone to help me raise my credit.
Welcome to a very special edition of the Polto Show. This is the show to educate you in your household, and every now and then we do different kinds of shows. And let me tell you, I don't even have to introduce, but my guest today needs no introduction. And I'm going to do it anyway. For everyone that knows a little bit about this person, and I did some homework, she was born November 23rd in New York, not in Philadelphia. She was a professional model, well, that we could see, and editor of a radio station, WCHB. She was also a weather person. And then, as well as all, we known her as the news reporter on KYW. Besides doing her TV news, she's now a freelance TV journey. Trudy is one of the most recognized personalities. She's retired from KYW Channel 3, 1998. But even then, nothing would stop her. And that's my saying, nothing will stop her, but nothing stopped Trudy from going on. She then went to other stations to continue her mission. She interviewed many from Comcast Cable to the Philly connection. Trudy's list goes on and on. Do I have to say any more? And after being on her show for many years, she interviewed me. I am now going to be the interviewer. It's going to be kind of awkward here. I first met her, and she probably forgets this. I first met her at the anniversary celebration of Dick Clark. And I was doing interviews for my radio station.
You were probably dancing.
And so was she. But from then on, I became a regular on her show, which is now on my website, as you see, affiliated with the Trudy Haynes Show, which is aired on my website, and she's on YouTube as well. But she was going to make history again. And this history she's going to make tonight, being on my show. Before I started my interview, she had one thing in common with me, and that's what made me stick with her, I believe. She had the birthday the same day as my father, who's in heaven. So I know her personality, as you hear me mention my father a lot on my show for his determination. Well, Trudy has the same kind of determination, and she's the same way. Before we do begin the show, I would like to say, I would like to welcome Trudy Haynes to all of you worldwide, not just Philadelphia, to the Polto Show.
Hello, sweetheart.
She's too busy talking to the dog. I told you. She does her own thing. Trudy.
Yes, darling.
Okay. It's a pleasure.
Let me say to your audience that I was late, first of all, and she bared with me. But I said there was no way that I would not miss going to Polto. Every time I needed her, she was there for me. And you have been the main attraction, really, on our show. I don't know how you did it, because I've been
What do you mean you don't know how I did it?
I mean, I've been having a whole lot of folks on the show, and when I get a call, it's when you're on.
You know, Trudy, when I was on Fox News time years ago, and I used to go on there, he used to say, you got more calls than the president.
I'm telling you,
this
girl's dying about it. You know what I think people like about you? You're honest and you're forthright. And
this is not my interview, though. Don't dare turn the tables around. This is not your interview. You're not interviewing me.
All right.
See, she tried to get away with it, people. I won't let her. She's my father all the way with the birthday. But anyway.
November 23rd.
November 23rd.
Yeah.
How was your birthday?
It was interesting.
Did you I'm hoping your husband celebrated.
Well, we don't celebrate birthdays anymore. We kind of overlook them nowadays.
Okay.
But,
like you made it.
Yeah, right. I woke up and I said, thank you, God. That's all you can say, that I'm still here. Now don't go figuring out how old it is.
I already know how old you are. Same as my father, but
oh.
you notice I didn't say nothing.
Okay.
But my father is in
people
heaven.
know.
My father's in heaven. But I used to say to my father, he wanted to meet you one day before he went to heaven, because I used to go over his house and I used to say, Dad, you're in bed. You're in bed. Trudy's riding all over the city, and you're old as you look and old as you feel. What's the difference between years old?
Yeah.
She said, I like to talk to this woman. I hate to sit here. But you keep your age. You've interviewed many, but
Yeah.
tell us where you started. Tell us where you started.
Well, to be honest with you, I started really in Detroit, Michigan.
Detroit.
Yeah, Detroit, Michigan. I was it was with my first husband. I had moved there, and while there, I started working for a radio station, and from that, started working for television.
What did you do on the radio, though?
Oh, let's see. I was the women's editor, and I even learned to sell my time on radio, which I don't do now too well. But I learned to operate a lot of the mechanics in those days for radio, and I was there for about 9 years as women's editor in Detroit. And then overheard that they were looking for someone to replace a weather. That's how I got mixed up with weather. A weather reporter at one of the TV stations in what was called. It wasn't called Detroit because it was sort of on the outskirts. I can't remember now, but it'll come to me. That's what age does to you.
So you had to move.
No, I stayed in Detroit. I just commuted.
Okay.
It was just on the outskirts, like going maybe from here to New Jersey.
Was it
some part of New
TV?
Jersey. Yes, it was TV, WXYZ.
Okay. You were a model. How long were you a model for?
Oh, that was before radio. You're going back. See, you're digging back in my past now.
So
That
you
was
were a
even
model,
before,
and then you
yeah.
went to the radio.
Well, I wasn't a model in the sense that people think of models today. In those days, we didn't have black models, not
Okay.
professional models. But in New York, I met a lady who was the originator of black models on a licensed agency. And I did meet her and started modeling with that agency. And I did a Colgate thing. I did a Lucky Strike.
Wow.
I did
Wow.
fashion, but I wasn't good as a fashion model because I wasn't tall enough.
Okay.
In
Now
those
you
days,
went
they
to the
wanted
TV.
tall.
How did you feel?
Well, when I started TV, I felt pretty,
Confident?
yeah, I thought I had made it,
Okay.
but I hadn't really. But the guy who hired me at WXYZ TV was the one that I really credit for taking the bull by the horn because he was the first one to hire a black person in that position.
Was it tough back then for the people hiring a black person?
Well, they weren't hiring them. I
They
was
weren't
the
hiring
first.
at all?
Yeah, I was the first. They didn't have any blacks on television
Wow.
in that capacity. This was before Diane Carroll with her TV program. It was before Bill Cosby. It was before all of them.
Wow.
And he hired me as a weather person of all things because the only thing I knew about weather in those days was if my toe was hurting. You know, so
It's going to rain tomorrow.
we didn't have, what do they call them today? The weather?
Yeah, well, whatever they call them, they give them
yeah.
a fancy name, but
Yeah. What do they call them? You know.
I don't even know. I don't even know. What are they?
Meteorologist.
Okay.
That's what, yeah. Everyone has to be, no, they really study today. I mean, we didn't have any of the mechanics.
So
to
how did
tell
you know?
them.
How did you know what the weather was going to be?
I didn't, I guess.
Are you serious?
No, well, I did have a little help. I went to the library. And I went to the library, the children's library, first of all, to rediscover what a map looked like. Because you had to mention, you know, what was coming and going and what states they were coming and going from. And then I went out to the airport and I learned the language that the airport used.
Wow.
And they gave me a beautiful map. But I wrote all over it so I know where I was going
Oh, my
and
God.
what the states were. And
Now,
you
how
couldn't
old
see
were
them.
you at this age, though?
Don't go there
In
again.
your 20s?
No. I was in my 30s then.
So
By then,
you
late
had all
30s.
this. I mean, this was hard work. It had to be hard work.
Well, it was hard, but it was fun, and I had to study. It was different. Of course,
Yeah.
it was challenging, and no one really wanted me there. There was a lot of not prejudice, but discrimination.
Yeah, you felt it.
even not just blacks though, but because I was a woman. Because the only women out there at the station at that time that were on air were either doing talk shows, sort of. In fact, that was the originator, I guess, in those days. Her name was Graham, I think. I can't remember too well. And the girls who were doing weather, ABC, that was an ABC affiliate, they had all over the country pretty blue-eyed blonde girls doing weather. And I didn't fit the pattern too well. So when I came, as I said, the man who hired me, I have to give him the credit for starting because he got a lot of nasty letters.
Was he a white man or?
Oh, darling. He was the GM. You know he was white. They're still white.
Well,
That
then you
don't mean
must have
that's the
impressed
GM.
them. You had to impress them.
Well, I guess I impressed him because I had the nerve to ask him,
Okay.
could I fill in
Okay.
for her or something? And he said, sure, come on out and let's see what you can do. And he hired me, and he paid for it.
Yeah.
I mean, he lost a lot of, I'm not going to look at your station anymore, and, get that person off the air, and blah, 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 blah. Anyway, I stayed there for 2 years doing weather, and near the end of that, they started sending me out to do some stories. I even had a chance to talk to Hoffa before he ended demisely under cement, so they say. And I did
And I know
all
you
of
were
the,
there.
yeah. And I started covering a lot of the, in those days, the car dealers, the car
Car salesman?
salesmen. Well, not the salesmen, the CEOs
Okay.
of all the car dealers were striking. There were a lot of strikes in those days, and I covered all of those.
Wow.
And only woman on the beat was me.
Wow.
So I guess they threw me out there to see if I
see what you
could
could do.
stand it.
Mm-hmm.
But I learned to play cards, and because all the guys would sit around, all they would do, waiting for the talks to end, would be playing cards. I learned all the whist and bridge and everything you can think of. But anyway, someone got wind of it in Philadelphia, and they called me and said, "Look, we've been watching you. Would you like to come to Philadelphia?" And since I'm a New Yorker, I was born in Harlem in New York, and I said sure because it was going to be closer to home. So I came to Philadelphia in 1965.
You just made that move, just like that.
Well, I was coming back. I was
Okay.
coming back east, and Philadelphia wasn't that far away as Detroit from New York, and all my little family that I had was in New York. So came back to Philadelphia. And in 1965, August of 1965, they hired me, and I stayed there until the end of 1999
Why did you leave in 1999?
because they told me to.
I had more email and more calls because that was the question that was asked of me to ask you by saying, what's wrong with these TV stations? They have an icon, they have somebody that's good in the business, and they want, as you say, blonde hair, blue eyes, and everybody's moved up. But you taught them all a lesson. You're still around, and they see it, and they know it. So, do you know this?
Well, I hope so. Let me put it that way. As you know, I've been flitting around trying to get my own show started.
Well, that's where we're going to go into next. You were at Channel 3,
Mm-hmm.
and then you left. They actually fired you then.
Well, they kindly brought me upstairs and said, would you mind packing up your things and taking a hiatus forever?
And what did you
from
say?
station.
How did you feel then?
Well, I didn't feel good about it. I thought I had a good thing going. I
Yeah.
liked working at KYW at the time. But when you get a new person in charge, they always want to bring their group in. I understand that. And so it was my time.
Did you take it so easily? Did you just leave?
Well, who's I going to fight?
Yeah.
I figured, well, in a way, I thought it was God saying, okay, start something else or do something else. And I did because at that time, my stepson and my husband, they said, well, let's band together and then do it on our own. And that's what we started. But he had to unfortunately move, and that left me and Ken. And Ken didn't know more about it than I did, so it left me. But he's been a great help. And now he even does the camera work for me.
When we come back, we're going to go to a little commercial. When we come back, we're going to find out what she's doing after KYW and all the news when we come back.
There's nothing more disruptive and annoying than getting an automated call to your cell phone. There are laws against companies using computers or recorded messages to call you on your cell phone without your permission. This is Consumer Protection Attorney Carrie Flitter. You've heard me as a guest on the Pearl Polto Show. There are consumer laws in place that prohibit many of the unwanted calls to your cell phone. If you're receiving unwanted or unauthorized calls, whether collection, selling products or services, or otherwise, you may be entitled to have these calls stopped and to collect money damages that the law provides. If you're getting unwanted or pre-recorded calls to your cell phone, contact us, the Consumer Protection Lawyers at Flitter Lorenz, at 888-668-1225. That's 888-668-1225, or online at consumerslaw.com. That's consumers with an S, consumerslaw.com. If we accept your case, the bad guys pay our bill.
Welcome back to the Pro Polto, a very special show today, and we're going to sing. I hope Ron joins me. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. My voice has changed.
And you should see this cake,
Happy
folks.
birthday. it's bigger than it really is.
With
it's
a
bigger
candle
than it
in
is.
And that candle
And you know every year I don't forget you.
Oh, that's
and there's
so
a recording
nice.
on the bottom.
Wow.
It says Merry Christmas.
Oh, thank
so
you,
you
sweetheart.
are an icon in the field. So this is yours to take back with you. But this
And
is
my
your
cake I can eat.
to make a wish. You have to make a strong wish out there, and everybody out there, I know what you're wishing, but she's got to make this wish as well.
I don't have to tell it.
No, you don't have to tell it.
Just make it and blow the candle
Just
out.
make it out and blow the candle out. Did you make your wish?
Yes.
Good.
You got
Good. Good. Happy birthday.
Thank you, sweetheart.
I told you I didn't forget.
Thank you.
We were talking about when she left KYW, and from KYW, what station did you go to next? What gave you that? Like what you said, that's it. I've had it. I'm going to go back into the TV field
Yeah.
again. How did you get a Comcast and all that?
Well, I started way down in Delaware for a leased access, I think it was called, leased access station. And I stayed there until they bought out or sold out. And then I worked for another young man who did all the car dealers on a station.
Cable?
Yeah, the cable station. He let me come in there and
I used to
start
watch
doing
that,
some.
too.
Yeah, and gradually I was doing pretty good for that show for a while because I had access to the DuPont Hotel.
Oh,
And they let me use their lobby for a lot of the stations. I interviewed Biden when he was running re-election. And I did very nice shows there until what happened? I forgot what happened. Then I moved to New Jersey. I did a station on cable company in New Jersey. I
Okay.
think it was WMCN, really.
and was PAX. Did you do PAX?
PAX TV, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
PAX
Oh, God,
TV.
I even forgotten that
Yes,
one.
I remember
Yeah,
that. You did the
PAX TV, Ion.
Ion.
Is now
Ion.
called Ion. I did their programs in the morning.
Who was the
There
best person out of all these shows now? Who's the best person you ever interviewed? Movie
A lot
stars,
of people,
singers.
A lot of people ask me that. I'd have to say the most interesting, I don't know, yeah, I guess it was the best too, was interviewing Martin Luther King.
Really?
Yeah.
You interviewed Martin Luther
Oh,
King?
yeah, several times.
Wow.
Several times. But I was in Detroit when I first started interviewing him. And then, of course, he came to Philadelphia for the march. And I had an opportunity to interview him
What
then.
would you say to him? How did you interview him? What would you say to him? Do you have a dream? I know you do.
That's probably what you would do. That's probably what you
It's
do.
probably what I would have done.
Yeah. I don't know what we asked him then. Of course, he's such a dynamic person. You don't have to really ask him anything.
He
You
says just comes out.
Yeah. He
you know
was
why?
so
Do
alive.
you know why?
And so,
Do you know why?
do I know why?
Yeah. I know why.
Okay,
He
tell
was
me.
a Capricorn.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're one of those.
I'm one of them.
Okay.
Martin
well,
Luther King was a
I'm a
Capricorn.
Sag. I'm on the cusp.
You're on the cusp.
I'm the Scorpion Sag cusp. I'm November 23rd.
Okay. Yeah, you work miracles. You really do.
We do?
Yeah,
Okay.
you really do. But you interviewed a lot of important people, and they all
Yeah.
know you.
Yeah, I know, but over the years, the number of people half of them are gone.
I was just going to say they're all dead and gone.
Yeah, half of them are gone now, but it's easier for me to tell you who I didn't like, and I wouldn't tell you. But no, I'll tell you. it was difficult. I won't say I didn't like them. It was difficult to interview Pearl Bailey, surprisingly.
Really?
Yes, because not because she didn't have a wonderful personality on stage. Excuse me. But in person, she was very commanding. Very commanding, and that might have been because of her sign. I don't know.
Which we didn't know.
And the other difficult person was the trumpeter. Oh, geez. I'm so
Donald
old.
Trump?
No. I interviewed Donald Trump. We became very good friends, believe it or not. I don't know what his problem is today. But anyway, I was very close to him during the time that he was married to his second wife.
Okay.
That went on stage.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even remember her name now, but she was the youngest one. I've interviewed Ivana, his first wife.
Okay.
Haven't met his third wife yet. I'm not important enough now to get there.
Of course you are. Of course you are. You just don't know it.
Yeah.
And you should know it by now.
But I did interview him and his two wives. And then and he was an interesting character to interview. But today he's a little mixed up.
Did they all know you? They all knew you,
yes,
correct?
Yes. In fact, the Don invited me to his New Year's Eve party down at the shore. But I've interviewed so many interesting people, Pearl. Interviewing you is interesting.
Oh.
You know, I mean, it's not always the celebrity.
Yeah.
So sometimes they're dull. Like Cab Calloway was very dull.
Oh, really?
He was a great personality on stage. But he told me, I said, well, Cab, what's the matter? You're not your effervescent self. And he said, I don't do that. That's for the stage. You know, so you never know. And then a lot of people who get sort of struck. Joan Crawford, I interviewed, one of her first live interviews.
Wow.
When she came to Channel 3. And when we were finished talking, when the interview was over, she said, I appreciate how you handled me. That's the word she used, how
She's
I
also
handled
a
her.
Capricorn, you know.
Is she?
Yeah, she is, Joan Crawford. Yeah, she
but
was.
she said the reason was because she had never done a live interview before, and that I made her feel at ease.
Yes. Yes, you do.
You know?
You really do.
So that was an interesting person too. And
Why haven't you written a book?
Well, I started to write a book, and the young man who was writing it, my ghostwriter, is that what you call him? He took it some places, and they said, well, where's the dirt?
Oh. Are you serious?
I'm very serious. Very serious. I didn't have any dirt. I didn't get into people's business.
Okay.
And my husband says I'm very naive. I don't believe that people have dirt. And so
you could have added some. I slept with Donald Trump on the side. You made
right,
a pass at me.
Right. All right. You're right. As I had an invitation like that too from a couple of them.
Now come on. All your years, when you say dirt, all your years, people in the business never made a pass at you.
Oh no. Oh, I'm very fortunate. I had passes made.
Well, that's dirt. That is dirt. It's good dirt though for a book.
That's good dirt. It would depend on what I did after getting the pass.
You know, if you interviewed Martin Luther King all the way back in Joan Crawford, yeah, you have a tell-all. You have a tell-all book, and you really should sit down yourself. And this ghostwriter,
who wants to read that stuff? Today is, you see, you didn't get into people's lives in those days like you do today.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about Joan Crawford. It was just happened because we met.
Yeah.
But I don't know anything about her past, her hidden footsteps or footprints and things like that. Okay. And so that doesn't make for a good story. So I met her, so what? You know.
Yeah, yeah. See, they were on your level. They were at your level, and you were comfortable with them. They were comfortable with you. And you do make a person feel comfortable, and that's the good part of you with it. How'd you get into, what's Bounce? Your new show. Oh. Tell us about your new show.
Bounce is the same old Trudy Haynes Show with people like Pearl Polto on the show. It's just a half-hour magazine show. Okay. And what I'm trying to do with the show, Pearl, is to enlighten people to what's going on around them, whether it's health, insurance, protection, like you do in their credit cards. And I'm trying to give people advice from the people who know how to give them advice. And so I don't try to do it myself. I try to have people on the show who are authoritative and who know what they're talking about and who will be real enough to tell them honestly about life and
Say it like it is.
yeah.
And not acting.
Right.
Yeah.
Something that they can use and be informed about. Because my people are ill-informed about a lot of things because the stations don't generally deal with our everyday lives.
This is why we have the shows. This is why you're going to come up with your
Yeah.
show. This is why I have the Pearl Polto Show. Exactly what you just said. The media today.
It's a show.
Yeah.
It's really a show. And we don't take a lot of the issues.
Yeah.
We don't have time. If you listen, even to CNN and MSNBC or any of those stations, they're always saying, well, hurry up. We don't have enough time. If we don't have enough time for this, maybe we'll have you back.
Yeah.
Well, being my own boss, I can take it. I can say, hey, let's give more time to this subject. You remember, you always ask me, how much time do I have? I said, take what you have. Take what you need.
Can. Yeah.
Take what you need to inform and to give people information that they can't ordinarily get.
Now, where's Bounce stationed out of?
Bounce is a station that was founded by Martin Luther King III and Andrew Young in Atlanta.
I know him.
You know?
I met him. I did a seminar.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay. Then you know how it feels to talk to these celebrities. And it's about 3 years old now. It's across the nation. It is a network. Okay. It's geared to the ethnic market in that its regular shows include things like Soul Train, the old Soul Train, and you won't believe this, but I have fun watching that.
I do too.
I have fun watching that. It's hilarious. It's really. And they have Fat Albert.
Yeah, I watch
They
that
have
too.
a lot of good movies that we as a people have not had an opportunity to see because they don't always make the, what do you call it, the dashboard. Okay. They're usually played in small theaters or used to be played in small theaters, something like that. So I'm finding a lot of movies that I've never seen, and they star a lot of ethnic people.
Okay, so you're having an open door for a lot of people.
So the
I
Bounce
know Dee Dee Sharp you interviewed.
Right, yeah, just a couple of weeks ago. And so I have control over all that. That's what's nice about doing your own show. Like you have control of it. You could have said, hey, Trudy, come on. Or, hey, Trudy, I don't need you.
No.
You know, either way. But you have that control.
Yeah, but that's good. Because
Yeah.
you know it, I know it, and we know what we can do, what we're capable of doing. You also had an honor at the Broadcast Pioneer. You remember also broadcast.
Yeah.
What kind of honor did you get? Or did you think it was an honor?
Oh, yeah. No, I was trying to think what kind of honor.
Yeah, you got a plaque, correct?
Yeah.
From the broadcast?
Yeah.
What year was that?
I knew you were going to ask. That's what I was looking up in the space for. Now, what year was she talking about? But it was one of the early ones. It was late 80s that I remember. Okay. So that goes way, way, way back.
So you were still with the TV set?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was still with the television station. And, what is he telling us? Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame. That's where you were at.
Okay.
Thank you. You were in the
Hall of Fame. Somebody knows. Anyway, Did you got one?
Yes. No, I don't have a Hall of Fame yet. No. I keep on telling Mike Nice to put me in, but no. I didn't get one.
No. I'll have to recommend you then. That's all right. But no, it's a very nice organization. Do you come to the meeting?
Yes.
Oh, I don't.
I know you don't. I know you didn't go to the Person of the Year too recently.
No, I didn't. I forgot where we were at the time, but it's a good organization, and we need all the help. We need all of it.
I think the old school. They're gonna. I hate to say it, they're gonna pass away, and the younger generation has to take its place. Though there was a Person of the Year. It was Dean Tyler,
right?
Which was this one, and me and Mike Nice were on the outside, helping, putting tickets, and getting the tickets on. So we wanted to see how smart these people really were. So we had their name tags, and I said, Mike, let's tell them, no, it wasn't any stickums. They just had to carry it. And when they came through, I said, you got to stick it right here. Well, they're trying to stick it. They're trying to peel it. They're trying to do anything. Monica Melpias comes through.
Oh, okay.
and everybody was inside already. And I said, "You got to stand at the end of the line." She said, "Where's the end of the line? There's no one here." So Mike said, "We're having more fun on the outside than we did on the inside." I said, "Yeah, the inside was boring at times. They should make it more exciting."
Okay, but if you come on in, you can do that.
Well, I am in, but the thing is, but they still, they make their
well, I can't go to
speeches.
all the luncheons, but I do know that they're making an attempt to do just what you said, to preserve some of the history
Yes.
of people who've
Yes.
been involved. So I
And
think they
the
do
new.
a good job. Excellent.
What's your plan now for the next 20 years?
To stay alive. Number one, stay alive.
Stay alive.
2, stay healthy. In fact, I even get up now to go do exercises.
Oh,
So,
please don't say that. Don't say that, because me and
moving.
Ron and I were talking, and we said you were so healthy looking, and he's a health freak, and so am I. I love vegetarian and all that kind of stuff. But we said, asked her, what does she do to keep so healthy? What do you do to keep so healthy? Do you exercise? Do you eat the right foods? Do you eat vegetables only? Or what
Nope.
do you do?
I do a little exercise every morning. And I love life. I love people. I love my husband. I have a good time. I'm not a serious person.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't get rattled too often. But if I do, I let it out.
Okay.
I don't harbor any ill feelings inside. So I laugh a lot. I cry a lot. I look at an old movie and the tears are just coming down my eyes, and it's something I've seen over and over again.
Yeah.
I love animals. So.
Do you have an animal?
No.
Are you allowed to have animals?
No.
Where you're? No.
No.
Oh,
No. I used to have dogs and cats and stuff like that, but not where I live. They won't let them. But I love that, like the war horse. I went to see the play the other day, and I'm just crying in the theater. It was only a make-believe horse.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a real horse. So now I want to see the movie. I didn't see the movie.
Okay.
Now I want to see it, and I'm really going to boo-hoo. But I love life. I really...
Who do you want in the future? Next year, 2 years from now, even next week? Who do you want? Who do you always wanted to interview? Besides me now, but who did you always want to interview?
Well, I guess...
Like in your heart.
I guess it's... I don't know. I would like to talk to Michelle Obama. I would like to talk to her. I think she's a wholesome woman.
Okay.
But it's hard to say. There's so many people that are interesting. I don't know, Pearl.
Well, what do you call interesting? Their lifestyle, their character?
No, interesting to me is the person who's very humane, who has a purpose in their lives, who reaches out to people, and who has found a calm in what they do, a calmness, a satisfaction. I met a guy once who said, I asked him, I said, well, what happens if you drop dead today, or you're going to drop dead tomorrow? And he said, I just want to say, so long, world, it's been good. I'd like to be able to say that when I go.
Yeah, so it has been good for you. It has been, and you're not done yet. I think God has a purpose for you, because
I hope so.
You're not done your last interview. That's a good name for your book, My Last Interview.
Okay.
So this way,
I better keep going.
I
don't want to go.
No, you're not going anywhere.
You're not going anywhere. I'm not ready to go. I feel like I have to do something.
I think God, even on today, I think God has put you in my life as well, as much as He put me in your life. And it's really strange, because I said you're born the same day as my father. That's kind of crazy there too. But God has a plan for all of us. And when I see you, I see you're not done. He's not done with you, because you're not just interviewing. Anybody, I think, can interview at times.
Yeah.
But you got to have that heart. You just said, you're looking at a person, and I felt it as I was just listening to you with Michelle Obama. You're seeing more to her, and what she's really all about. And you have that gift to see into people, that it's not just for show. And I think that's where you're coming from. If I'm right.
Hope you're right, Pearl. Did you hear her?
God knows Pearl Polto, as my clients say.
Oh, I certainly want to thank you for this opportunity for us to talk. We haven't talked like this for a while.
No.
So this has been good.
When you interview me, naturally it's about credit,
Mm-hmm.
and that's I have to do my expertise with it, and I enjoy it. But it's coming to my stage now too. Like I went from insurance, and then I went to the credit, and it was my purpose, I think. But I think my purpose now is going a little bit over. Do you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
when you went to the radio, I think it's time that God wants me to do not something else, but bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a start. This is a
For
start.
both of us, yeah.
For both of us.
Because we're not teeny weenies anymore.
But we're going to go on
Oh,
forever.
yeah,
Go on
forever.
forever. And I want to thank you. I want to thank you for...
Well, I want to thank you for inviting me. As I told my husband, let's go. We got to get the pearlies. So.
anytime, any place. As I always say to Ron, with it, sorry, we got to be there. I want to thank you for coming on the Polto
Thank you,
Show.
sweetheart.
And I'm going to, we're going to push this so the whole world sees who you're all about and what you're already on my website on 2 of the interviews you did with me. But now this interview is a lot better because God's listening now. So he's going to make you a lot stronger. And your husband, has to make sure that he keeps you really happy, even with the earrings. So,
Thank you,
Trudy,
Pearl.
thank you. For
I want to
coming on the
thank you
show.
for your engineer.
That's
And-
Ron Homer, Irv Homer's
Yeah,
son. You know
yeah.
Ron.
And thank him for having me and bringing me out safely, because he gave me directions and I know he was prompting you. So, and I want to thank your audience for being faithful to you
Yeah.
and for accepting me.
Oh, they've
Thank
always
you.
accepted. Tonight's show, I don't care if you have to watch it over and over again or pass the word around or pass it to your friends. You know what's going on Facebook because this person, she's going to be known in history and it's going to be continued to be known in history for years to come. Never, never, never forget the icons in the world of TV, radio, and that's Trudy Haynes. And please, put a like when you see us on Facebook. Put a like or make a comment because we're not going to have these icons around for the next 20 years. And maybe I won't be around myself as well. So thank you. This is Pearl Polto. As always, making the most of your credit, giving credit where credit's due. Today, Mr. Trudy Haynes.
Thank
See
you.
you next week.
Interest rates are